Can always leave quick messages there, too. If you listen from out of state, tell me where. We just heard from Aaron, who was checking in from Myrtle Beach. But he's only been there a couple of weeks. He moved down from Virginia. Catherine is one of our new bureau chiefs down in Tampa. Misty listens in LaGrange, Kentucky. Alex and Sarah are up in Gardiner, Maine. And Bob listens out in Astoria, Oregon. Mary was out yesterday. And I mention that because I've gotten a couple of texts from people asking if she's the mystery pooper.
What?
Apparently, the morning show was talking about someone left a link on the floor in that back ladies' room. I don't know if that's true or if they're doing a bit. I don't know. And people were like, ooh, because you and Mary use that bathroom. Like, yes, we don't often. There are toilets in there.
Right.
So that kind of...
Wait, they
does
pooped
away with the need, if that's what happened. I don't know. I mean,
in the stall or just like in...
no clue. I didn't hear it. I just had a handful of people texting me going, oh, who was the mystery pooper? I'm like, I don't know what those words mean.
Well, I wasn't here yesterday.
Well, that's why I say Mary was gone. So even if you can remove her from the suspect list because...
Also, no, not a big fan of pooping on the floor.
Right.
You got to try it. It's a blast.
Yeah, you like it? Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, as long as there's a drain there.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
so
stomping
no, wasn't me.
of the waffle.
I did not poop on the floor. I was in Pittsburgh. I didn't even get home until noon.
And it's also, you didn't get home till noon today.
I slept in. The bed that I was laying in was so freaking comfortable,
Oh, you stayed
man.
over in Pittsburgh.
I stayed overnight. I was gonna, because whatever. I didn't want to drive home in the middle of the night. And because I wouldn't have gotten home till like 2 a.m. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just stay. I'll wake up at like 7 and I'll get on the road. I'll get
Where'd
home
you
early.
stay?
They put you up in like what's essentially a studio apartment that they own.
They do.
Which was cool. But the bed was so comfortable. And I could tell there was like this really thick, like, foam mattress topper. And I texted the guy. I was like, yo, you got to send me a link to that mattress topper because I am now 2 hours behind schedule because I like laid there and it was so hard to get up because I was so comfortable. But yeah, so I got a late start to the day and then got home around noon. But
That's dope.
so yeah, I did not poop on the floor.
That's dope that they own like an apartment.
So it's actually kind of a cool, it's called Steel City Arts Foundation. And essentially in the basement, there's like a gym, a podcast studio, and then a room. It's basically a studio apartment where it has like a little bit of a living space, a bed, a full bathroom, and a like place to do laundry. So that's where anybody who comes through that they book, you get to stay there. So it's really nice. It's secluded. It's private. It's awesome. But
Not that far from the zoo. Could have walked over to the zoo and looked around.
I could have, but I didn't.
Stayed in bed instead. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get up at 7 a.m. to go to the zoo.
Well, some of us were up early because we had to go to a grand opening.
Of what?
A ribbon
Oh, is
cutting.
that the sheets?
Sheets.
Oh, what
Yeah.
time was early for that?
Started at 9. I had to be there at 9, and so I got up around 7:45.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was in Amherst, yeah?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
It was the best grand opening that Amherst gas stations have ever seen.
I bet.
And I stand by that.
Yeah.
I bet everybody in Amherst agrees.
I can
They're
believe
giving
that.
away $2,500 in Sheets gift cards, which
Oh,
is
dang.
cool. We gave away Smashing Pumpkins tickets to some elderly person, probably, because there was a lot of elderly
person. Well, yeah. Who do you think's walking around at 9 a.m. in Amherst?
Right.
Mall walkers and
Well, the
people who've been
people-
up since 4.
There was just so many because you had to be present to win the $2,500 gift card, and most people were like, well, I want to sign up for that and try and win, but I got to go to work. So they'd come through.
Not the
bunch of listeners came through and said hi, and that was cool. But then there was just an overwhelming amount of elderly people there. But,
But that way you
Sheets
get to have,
doesn't discriminate. They want to
of
help
course,
everybody.
you get a nice little visit. They probably went in for a coffee.
Oh, it's the
maybe
best.
an early morning MTO.
This older black lady comes in, but she's like, why would I go all the way downtown to just watch them smash some pumpkins? And I was like, it's a band. And she's like, I'm even less interested now.
You
And I'm
had
like,
me when I thought
yeah.
it might have been someone smashing actual pumpkins. Now I don't care at all.
And I'm like, I'm going to make sure you win. And she's like, she was very funny. She was a sweet lady. But it was a good time. And I love the people at Sheets. They always take care of us.
Grand openings always make me laugh because they are like so over the top. I get it. It's a grand opening. But I remember when Walmart came to Oberlin and it was like the biggest thing ever. Everyone was
big
like,
deal.
People were walking. Like when it first opened, I would call people and I'm like, what you doing? He's like, oh, walk around Walmart. I'm like, oh, what you buying? They're like, oh no, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm just walking around Walmart. I'm like, there has to be something better to do. When the grand opening happened there, they had like the Oberlin High School marching band come through. I'm like,
Yeah, it's Oberlin. It's a Walmart in Oberlin.
Well,
It's not in Los Angeles. It's in Walmart in Oberlin. Probably takes up half the town.
It's on the outskirts of Oberlin.
An old lady. She's like,
suburban.
Can you
Oberlin.
take our picture? And her friend is like, they don't want us to take. I'm like, they have a step and repeat so that you can take pictures in front of it. That's part of it. And the whole staff was over there. I'm like, get in there with the staff. And this one lady was very reluctant. And the other lady's like, hell yeah, I'm getting in there. It was very fun.
A step and repeat?
Yeah, that's what they call like the
backdrop.
backdrops.
Those like that they're on metal poles. It's just like a canvas backdrop.
It's called a step and repeat?
Step and because you step, take a picture, and then repeat. The next person steps, take a picture.
Never heard that
Yeah,
before.
Step and repeat.
Huh.
Tell you what though,
See, we're a little more Hollywood than Alan these days.
I guess so, yeah.
It's an old.
that intersection where you were this morning, Bill, they done lost their mind. They done went off. They got a Meyer. They got a Charlie Subs.
There's so much stuff over there. I
they
remember going there
changed.
like 4 or 5 years
Used
ago,
to be a Kmart.
doing a show down there and like driving through there, and it looked like there was like a couple gas stations. It was just like a regular.
It wasn't even a
exit.
gas station there. Not at that intersection.
No, because there's a Speedway across the street.
Yeah, okay,
and then
you're right.
there was a gas station where Sheetz was. They bought it and like built it up, a free car wash. The car wash line was bananas long.
They have 3 there now.
Yeah.
Like I said, they done lost their minds. Lorain County, when they get stuff, they don't know what to do. But that's
exciting.
It's a popular area now.
Job creation.
you
Only
go.
time I ever get to Amherst is for Kodrowski's Bakery. Because my wife likes those snoogles.
You ever
on
go to Hot
Church
Dog
Street?
Heaven?
Hot dog heaven? No, but I had hot dogs last night because it was International Hot Dog Day. And I got a couple of hot dogs, and then I instantly regretted it.
Oh,
But it tasted good for a half a second.
Now you understand.
No, I don't. I'm still trying to get on board with this whole thing with you guys where you go, what you do is you just eat and then you hate yourself, but it tasted so good.
And
I'm
it
like,
feels good to be full.
But the
Nah,
thing
it
is, we hate
doesn't.
ourselves before we eat too.
well, we all do. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I just feel
Then I can get mad at the food. I'm
I
like,
feel
you stupid food.
the after lasts so much longer than the first part.
You're right.
That's what I can't get on board with.
But the pleasure's so good.
When I had
It's not that good though.
That's pretty good.
That you feel awful the rest of the night.
When I had that big bag pizza last week, that's what that was. Because that was my first big cheat day since I've been counting macros again. And it's the feeling of being full. When you're eating clean and you're eating healthy, I don't ever really feel that stuffed feeling.
Yeah,
Because you
that's
can't get it. You can't get it from salads and chicken. So then you eat 4 pieces of pizza and you're like, oh, there it is. Hug me from the inside.
I don't ever want to feel stuffed. It's
Yeah.
gross. I don't care for that.
And you nap and you feel better.
Nap.
Nap, poop, feel better.
What I did was I ate a big dinner and then I took a nap
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
and then I
you wake
got
up
back
and then
up.
So you can have a
go out and
snack.
do it again.
Have a snack. Wow. Yeah. So every time I do something like that, I realize why I don't do that more regularly. And then I go,
How many hot dogs did you eat?
I had 2. I ordered 2 hot dogs.
Ordered.
Well, I got them from Five Guys.
Okay.
Because I wasn't going to go somewhere so they make me a Chicago dog, right? I wasn't being that snippy about it. But a hot dog sounded good. Mm-hmm. And I can always get my daughter, she just likes plain hamburgers. So I
Right.
can always get her a plain hamburger. And I ordered a couple of their hot dogs. And, they split them down the middle, which I'm not a huge fan of, but that's how they broil them or they, whatever. They don't boil them, so they're cooking them on a grill with the
Yeah.
hamburgers. That's fine. Mustard relish. It's fine. But I just feel awful afterwards.
Yeah. Well, that must be hard for you.
Sorry.
Yeah, you guys have got it good, man, because you're like, oh, it feels great. I feel like all the rivets are going to pop out of me. I'm going to blow an O-ring here. And that's the great part.
Feeling full is a good feeling. I like it. I do enjoy it. Although right now that's being done by rice cakes, which is not the exact same thing, but
Hey, Woody.
Alan,
Yes. Can already tell Woody's got an awful connection. Yes, Woody, hello.
feeling full is a good feeling.
Okay.
I guess that's it. But hey, Mary was just talking about how comfortable that bed was since she was on the road in Pittsburgh, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much road work, Alan, you did as a comic, but I know Bill did a ton of it, correct? And I was wondering, what was the absolute worst situation that you actually put up with that you can recall while doing all that road work?
I didn't do the road. I did Chicago and I did LA when I lived in those places. I didn't do the road.
I did a show in where was someplace in like the Pennsylvania Scranton area, and it was a very like the show itself was fun, but the place where they had us staying was the only hotel in town because it was like a little mountain town, and most of the people that were in this motel actually lived in the motel, and then the room that I had
You were
was
staying at their house.
Yeah, it was just scary.
Yeah.
Like, it was just scary to the point where I was like, I'm not staying here tonight.
Yeah.
Like, I made a good amount of money. I'm going to just drive down the road and get a Holiday Inn or something.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. But, like, I walked in there, I was like, I'm not going to touch anything in here.
Don't even pull your baggage out.
It was like wood paneling.
Yeah.
They handed you a physical key, like a brass key to
Brass
get in,
key.
and you're like, oh, God.
Yes,
The
it
lack of
actually was.
Wanna
Yes.
Yes, it was a brass key, and there was no, like, there was a bed, but there was no bed, like, you know, usually they'll have at least a headboard or something.
No.
There was no bedside table. The alarm clock was on the floor. Like, there was a TV, but it had like a turn knob. Like, it was the oldest, like, it was the first TV.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, nah, we're not staying here tonight.
This room doesn't even have HBO, like it says on the marquee.
It's a snuff film set or something.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. It was just Russian anal porn on a loop. All right, listen, thank you, Woody. I appreciate the call.
There was one time I was doing a gig up in northern Michigan, and they were like, oh, it's right next to this really cute campsite, so there's like cabins. So we put all the comics up in the cabins. And when I went to go check in, there was not a single human being or car or anything in the area of these cabins. And so I like walked into what I was assuming was the front like
What
desk
time of year was it?
cabin. This was summertime.
Yeah.
So I walked in and I was like, hello? Like, I'm like trying to find anybody. And they're like, oh, no. And I called the guy, the booker, and he was like, no, just go to like cabin 14. It's already unlocked. It's ready for you. And I was like, yo, there's no one here. He goes, yeah, well, it's an off season. It's this. Nobody's going to be really round. And I was like,
You know,
summertime's
summertime's the off season for camping in northern Michigan.
Right.
You know how it goes.
I was like, yo, dude, I'm not trying to be snooty, but I'm not comfortable staying here. If there's nobody on site and
Right.
something happens, and I'm the only person in this entire like camp area, I was like, I'm not doing this. I said, you can take whatever you would have paid for this, give it to me, and I'm going to go get a hotel because this is how murders happen. Just the cabins are open. Just go pick one. Like, that's ridiculous.
The cabins are open. I'm going to take 14.
There was another time where
Closest to the highway.
had a hotel. Luckily, I wasn't staying, like, I was commuting back and forth for that night, but I got there, and the other comedian's like, yeah, the hotel has bed bugs, and so then they put us up in, and I was like, oh, thank God, I didn't want to stay. It was a Red Roof Inn, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to stay there anyway. And they moved us over to a much nicer hotel, and then a girl was going to come over after the show, and we were going to hook up.
Yeah.
But she got a DUI on the way to the hotel, and she texted me, like, the next morning, probably around, like, 10:30 or 11. She's like, hey, sorry I didn't come over.
Just got out of jail.
Exactly. And
So
I
that was her
like,
story, huh?
I'll take it. You know, I wasn't that bummed out about it. She was
Driving under the influence of Bill Squire for a while,
Yeah.
and then the damn demon alcohol got the better of her. So they canceled that Chappelle show at the last minute, at that sold out. A couple days ago, we were talking about how there was online backlash. Like, who cares when you're Dave Chappelle? Because this club in Minnesota, downtown Minneapolis, booked him at this club, 1,500 seats. So not like an improv, but I mean not like a huge theater. State Theater is probably twice that big, right?
Yeah.
Seat-wise. They sold out the show, and they canceled it at the last minute and moved it to another venue because they were so apologetic to whoever they let down in the community that, and listen, they can do whatever they want to do, but it's like, what are they worried about?
Yeah.
You sold out the show. Like, what are you worried about at this point? It's one thing if there was such a huge backlash that there were protests and there were no tickets sold or something. You go, well, okay, we got to figure out something else here. But they canceled it at the very last minute. and moved it. What I read was that they moved it to another venue, the Varsity Theater, which was nearby.
And probably
posted
more
a big
seats,
thing on
right?
Instagram. Huh? I don't think so. I don't think the Varsity Theater was any bigger. I don't know. But what a weird, I don't know, man. I know everybody's got their take on the Chappelle thing, but it's like, if you're a venue, why do you care if people are upset on Twitter? Why do you care? You have a sold-out show. I mean, unless there's something they're not copping to, where somebody got DM'd and was like, yo, we're going to make tonight really tough for you guys and blah, blah, blah. You know, we have to hold ourselves to the highest standards and we let you down and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, you can do whatever you want to do. The Varsity Theater is where Chappelle was already going to do 4 shows after this one. So he was already doing shows there.
No, so
they
then
just
it's
put the
like-
first one, they just moved it. But it's like, what was the point of all this? Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
You knew that this was going to be, because I think they booked it the last minute too or something. At this point, you know if you have Chappelle in your venue,
People are going to be pissed.
somebody's going to get butthurt on social media. Like,
Right.
yeah. It's so weird. And I'm sure he doesn't care. He's like, cool, now I don't have to switch venues.
Right.
Let's go over there. We hear you, said the... We hear you. Listen, I don't know what to say, man. This was kind of funny-ish for a while. But come on, man. Like, he's doing fine.
he'll be just fine. He's doing a...
hitting Dave Chappelle. You're hitting the people that work at the venue for nothing. You're hitting the stage manager at the venue. You're hitting the people who work at the place. You're not hitting Dave Chappelle. These are sold out shows. So he gets his money and he goes home, comes back to Ohio, has fun. I don't know what the point of this is. If you're the venue, I don't know what the point of it is. You got to tell all the people that work there, guys, we got to cancel this show. Now, for all I know, the same people who own First Avenue own the Varsity Theater. That could be the case. I mean, nobody walks away from a full, if you're the venue owner, nobody walks away from a sold out event. So I don't know. But this big, long screed on Instagram, they let down the community and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you knew that going in. Like, if that's how you feel, if you're just testing the waters, you know what the temperature of the water is. It's been like this for Chappelle for the last 18 months. Like, you know what the temperature of the water is. So what's the, guys, we're really sorry we didn't know. You didn't know? What didn't you know?
Right.
It's so strange.
Or do you think this actually would hurt them more going back on it? Where people are like, well, the damage is done. You already, but like how Bill feels about the Browns, where he's like, you already booked this guy that we don't like.
But what damage?
So,
What damage?
but that's what I'm saying is
Don't
like,
buy a ticket.
Right.
well, what I'm saying is that they, like, people who maybe went there before are like, I'm not going to support that venue anymore because you almost booked Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, they might
You know
say
what I mean?
that, but people have notoriously short attention spans. They'll say that until there's a band they really want to see that's only playing that venue.
Yeah.
What, are you going to drive to Fargo because you're not going to patronize that venue in your hometown? It's silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I got Gary Clark Jr. tickets. He's setting his tour for September the 13th here in Cleveland. He's going to play MGM Northfield Park. So if you want a couple of those tickets to see him, I'll have those after the break. And then 3:30 is going to be the next chance to grab some money. Another $1,000. You can go fuel yourself. Listen for that keyword coming up. 35192 to send a text for anything else, and we'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app or whatever smart device you have.
Just tell me to play the